Okay, so OpenIDEO is essentially we started about 5 years ago with the mission of making design thinking and innovation more accessible to anybody around the world. And we wanted to do that for the intention of basically allowing people to become more empowered with the ability to do good in their community, to solve tough problems that haven't really been done before. Because we're really passionate about just getting people to not only talk about the topic, but to start brainstorming and bring design thinking and also innovation to the space. Because we've seen that there's a lot of desire and a lot of need for more collaborative and more human-centered thinking in the space.
Energy innovation happens because of technology, advances in technology, in the policy field, as well as on the business or like finance side, and that's what we always talk about, like the triangle, if you will. Sustainability is at the end of the day, a problem that we all contribute to. Is that perhaps we don't know what the consequences of our actions are to the environment, and so with this event, I'd like to see if we can do something about it using the tools of design thinking.
All that much, but it was a really important lesson to me that you want to build tools that open possibilities for people, and then you want to accept that possibility. Well, because open brings one very powerful thing to it, and you know this, but in research and scholarship it was brand new to us. It brings eyeballs. It brings readers. And I would use this concept of open source to think about this. That is, we need to see where the source of the issue is around knowledge, where it is created, the principles by which it circulates, and we need to think about how we can open that further. This idea of open source. So the basic principle here is that there are issues in your world. There was an issue in my world. I needed to find a solution or an approach that would be engaging to people. And so I developed an argument. Cheaper than free, forgive me. It's a corny argument. I needed to find a way of making people do what they always wanted to do, but to do it in a way that contributed. So I created a platform. I created a tool that helped them do what they already did. And then finally, I swallowed 1 or 2 or 3 of my principles in order to work with other people in an entirely open way in a circular economy.
Amazing thing. We are at Open Lab. We're tasked with thinking about journalism, thinking about how we can impact how we tell stories and gather information as a newsroom for all of journalism. And so we have to make our tools accessible to other people so that they can pick them up and run with them or build on them, or else we're not really having an impact on anything but BuzzFeed. Journalism ought to be telling us that we ought to be able to turn to reporters and ask them to go tell us these stories, to go track this information, to follow companies that are making huge amounts of money and ask the questions that none of us have time to ask in our day-to-day life about where that money is going, where that money is coming from, and how that's impacting our communities. If the work that you're doing is important work, if the work that you're doing is mission-driven work, then thinking about how you make it possible for more people to do that work is equally important. And if one of the ways you can make it possible for more people to do that work is by using free and open source tools, that you are making it easier for other people to pick up and join you in the work that you're doing. And so I would encourage people, in addition to thinking about releasing what you've created as free and open source, to think about looking at the tools that you use every day and whether there are ways that you could start to incorporate more free and open source tools into your daily workflow.
We refined the problem to figuring out how we can address the issue for hobby beekeepers without help. There's not enough professional media about how to maintain a quality beehive, and there's also a lot of conflicting information as far as how to maintain a beehive. So those are the pain points and why beekeeping is so hard to do, even though there's more than enough beekeepers. The problem is that they just don't have a good quality information.
And we talked to people on the Embarcadero. We actually stopped them and asked them some of their opinions about solar and what might prevent them from going to adopt the solar panel system on their house, and also what are their overall perceptions of it in general. The other thing that's a barrier, especially in urban spaces, is that there's a lot of renting that goes on, and a lot of people just don't feel, they may be really interested in solar, but they don't necessarily feel like they have the ability to do anything with their building that they don't own, that they don't have access to, that sort of thing. So renting is a barrier.
We summed it up with a pretty big problem statement. How might we create social opportunities for conversations on climate and sustainable solutions? And this is something that's quite close to our heart, because we're all here, we all care about climate change, but how can we feel like what we're doing is actionable?
And what we came up with was an archetype of a person who is a college-age millennial student who knows about climate change, but doesn't really think it's a priority and isn't really willing to change her actions because she doesn't feel encouraged or empowered to really make those changes. So we've really been looking at how you think. Can you think you can really make an impact? How do you feel? Do you feel that you just want to fit in, so you don't really know how to go from there? And what do you say? Does what you say differ from how you end up actually acting? And then also what you can do from there. So that's what we're going to be.
POV was, how might we empower local urban communities like the Bay Area to fund sustainable, publicly shared services and infrastructure? But we really decided that instead of focusing on a physical space, we want to leave it open. So public engagement was a key issue, and empathy was a key issue. So we have, how might we inspire public engagement in the Bay Area that sparks empathy and collaborative community-led responses to the challenges associated with rapid urbanization.
Sure, right. So we started off trying to think about what's the issue, what are the problems, and we started off by watching a video that she made. And she's this really, really gritty entrepreneur solving problems at a very ground level. We really decided that she's not a biogas or an energy company. We think she's more of a waste management and circular economy company, right? She's not an energy company. She's trying to figure out how to make things engage with her community. So that was kind of the way we started framing the way that we thought about our problems.
Our problem is, how might we improve utilization of systematic food waste in the context of insect farming? So
the top part is definitely a key issue because we had also to convince consumers that eating cricket powder in several forms is as good as any other type of food. So it's definitely an educating customers. But we decided to focus on one of the issues is basically trying to feed back into the system the fat that was produced, and also to get external collected waste into the system to try to reduce the cost. So that's our work for the idea today.
The Tree Adoption Uganda company's mission. The company, we're essentially the company, and the company, what it does is helps youth find money to start their own companies or pay for education. We try to research the stakeholders, and we looked for other companies that do some similar things, and how we can get inspired from them.